Every year in fantasy baseball, there are a handful of players who end up quietly destroying people's seasons.
Tell me about it.
Not the obvious busts, but the guys being drafted between 80 and 150 that everyone convinces themselves will be safe and a key part of their success. As someone who has been in my fair share of fantasy baseball leagues, including having been paid by a few friends over the years to make their draft selections for them,
Sounds so cool.
I'm going to share 5 players I'm completely avoiding in my 2026 fantasy draft, and why I think they're way riskier than most realize. And one of these guys actually finished top 10 in AL MVP voting last year, yet I still wouldn't draft him.
Give me the good stuff!
The first player I'm avoiding is Byron Buxton. Prior to the 2012 draft, MLB.com rated Buxton as the best prospect available, and I could understand why. Byron is a true 5-tool player that made high school baseball and later minor league baseball in the Twin system look really easy when he was healthy. The injury bug first hit Buxton in 2014, and it seems to have never left him alone since. Over his 11-year MLB career, Byron has played in over 100 games in a season only 3 times. Yes, 2024 and 2025 were 2 of those seasons, but minor injuries still limited him to 102 and 126 games played in each campaign respectively. There is no denying that Byron was incredible last year, and was likely a steal for anyone who took a chance on him, but I just can't get myself to the point of risking a valuable pick on him, even though I truly hope that he stays largely healthy again in 2026. Beyond his health, I also really don't love what the Twins have surrounded him with.
You think you can do this to me?
Buxton is very likely to be the offensive focal point of a rebuilding team, and should he start strong, teams won't hesitate to work around him, knowing that the next few guys up likely won't make them pay for it. The next guy I'll be passing on might be the most controversial on this list, because he hit 300 last year, Yandy Diaz of the Tampa Bay Rays. As of the day that I'm creating this, Yandy has looked great in spring training, and I honestly do think that he's likely to have another strong year for the Rays. The reason I'll be passing on him is that I do think the career-high 25 home runs he hit in 2025 will lead to him being misdrafted. Not necessarily in terms of overall output, since he tends to hit for a great average like he did in 2025, but because I think too many people will select him early to be one of their primary home run hitters. Of the 56 players who hit 25 or more home runs in 2025, Yandy averaged the shortest distance on his dingers at 378.72 feet. 3 of them were absolute wall scrapers, including this 326-foot shot that wouldn't have been a home run in any other ballpark. And with the Rays set to return to the pitcher-friendly Trop this year, I expect his home run total to dip back down into the mid-teens at best. So I'll be looking elsewhere to get more thump from a primary power position. Quick pause, if you're preparing for a fantasy draft right now, do me a favor and hit the like and subscribe buttons so more baseball fans find this video. And if you want the opposite list, 5 players I'll be targeting in my fantasy draft, comment draft, and I'll get working on that one to release next week. The third player I'll be passing on is the guy who finished 7th in AL MVP voting in 2025, George Springer of the Toronto Blue Jays. There is no denying that George found the fountain of youth last year, hitting .309 with 32 home runs and helping the Blue Jays get to within 2 outs of winning the World Series. But George is also turning 36 this year, and is not far removed from looking it in the batter's box. In fact, it was right around this point last year that Springer looked so bad in spring training that Blue Jays fans and local media began to discuss the team potentially needing to let him go and eat the final 2 years of his deal. Of course, flash forward 12 months and the Blue Jays are very happy to still have him around heading into 2026. But the warning signs of an upcoming down year are hard to ignore. His bat speed improved slightly in 2025, which was the primary thing making him look retirement worthy in 2024. But I wouldn't bank on that happening again. And he still struggled massively against off-speed pitches, which he's likely to see more of as a result. Plus, even though Anthony Santander's injury may have helped guard against this, the expectation is for George to see more time in the outfield this season, which gives me even less confidence in his ability to duplicate last year's DH-energized offensive numbers. So I'll be leaving him for someone else to draft way too early. My 4th hard pass is one of 3 new faces expected to be in the Boston Red Sox starting rotation in 2026, the 36-year-old veteran, Sonny Gray. Now, don't get me wrong, I like the addition overall for the Red Sox, and I'm happy to see Sonny get out of the unfortunate situation going on in St. Louis right now, but I'm not betting on Gray having much more than a serviceable year at Fenway. My primary reasoning is that I don't think that a move back to the AL East, especially given how stacked the division currently is roster-wise, is going to be easy for an aging Gray to navigate. He wasn't great as a Yankee in 2017 or 2018, and his average fastball velocity has slowly dropped over the past 3 seasons. Opponents have hit .333 and .376 off of it collectively in 2024 and 2025 respectively, but that hasn't stopped him from relying on it quite heavily to maintain the effectiveness of his elite sweeper. I just can't help but foresee his fastball getting knocked out of Fenway, Yankee Stadium, and the Rogers Center too often for me to spend an important pick on him. The final guy that I'll be skipping on gave Yankees fans nightmares in October, and is someone that I actually really love the stuff of and think will be great in 2026. Trey Savage of the Toronto Blue Jays. So if I believe in him, and his funky arm angle, why am I suggesting you not draft him? Because I've been following the organization he's a part of for 30 plus years, and I know how they tend to handle who they see as their most prized young pitching assets. No matter how dominant he looks, the Blue Jays will baby Savage early in 2026. He'll be on an innings limit that they will not bend on, and they'll strategically look to save as many of those innings as possible for the stretch run and hopeful postseason. The Blue Jays recently added Max Scherzer to an already projected starting rotation pool of Kevin Gausman, Dylan Cease, Trey Savage, Jose Barrios, Shane Bieber, Eric Lauer, and Cody Ponce. Not because Bieber will be starting the year on the IL, but because they intend to piggyback Savage with someone else early in the season, which from a fantasy baseball perspective will dramatically limit how much good he can do for you. Those are the 5 guys I'll be avoiding in my upcoming 2026 MLB Fantasy Draft. Are there any other high-ish ranking players that you'll be steering clear of? Let me know via the comments, and be sure to subscribe for plenty more baseball content.